All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out my channel. So what I'm going to get into today is learning how to create your own style and not following others' style, I guess you could say. Not sure how I'm going to word that specifically in the title. But I did a previous podcast on basically not allowing others to dress you. Now, that may sound funny, but I do think a lot of, I should say more or less, men kind of fall in this category. But I used to do this with my ex-wife too and kind of buy a lot of clothes that she would wear. Not sure if she even liked them or not. It seemed like she did. But in this case, I think a lot of people are in a position where other people buy their clothes for them in all different ages. It could be your parents starting off, kind of buying your clothes for you. Maybe you can't afford them. And then as time goes on, maybe your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. Also, which I didn't mention in my previous podcast, kind of just when you go shopping, you let the sales associates, whatever store you're shopping in, kind of create a style for you. Now, if you like it, you like it. But I do think a lot of people don't have the balls to say, you know what, I don't like it. And that can even happen if you like a brand. So say you like a certain brand. I don't care if it's, Gucci, Armani, Ralph Lauren, Lacoste, whatever it is, again, for men or women. And you kind of want to make a change, but you still go to that store and you're still maybe buying clothes or other people are buying you those type of clothes still. And you're still wearing them and you're not that comfortable in them. Or you just want to break out for a while. This is going to be a similar podcast to that, but a little different. I think what happens a lot of times when people want to change up their image or their style, one is they're afraid to do it. And I tell a lot of people, start small. There's no reason to go extreme unless you want to. I know a lot of guys, especially in bands or music or in the arts, actors, theater people and all this, they kind of go into the art hardcore. They may go to a certain university or a school or start taking drama classes or anything. Start performing on stage, and all of a sudden, one minute they look like this, the next minute they change their entire identity. Maybe for marketing reasons, maybe because they've just always felt like they wanted to do something like this, become more eccentric, more extreme, or whatever. God bless you. But I do think when I see other people kind of go extreme, that are just kind of, let's say, in the public, the average Joe, I do think a lot of times they're screaming for attention, which is fine. Do whatever the hell you want to do. But I do think maybe the best route to go, just because a lot of times if you go too extreme, and you don't like that, then where do you stand? So all of a sudden you do an extreme hairstyle and you go buy all these different type of clothes, shoes, and all of a sudden, like in a month or two, you're like, I can't even keep up with this. I don't want to blow dry my hair this way. I don't want to spend all this money on keeping up with fashion trends. I don't even like, the colors that I'm using now, and I kind of thought I wanted to be a rocker. Now I kind of don't. I actually felt better being a guy who just looked like a golfer or, whatever the case may be. Same with women. I think a lot of women may want to go hardcore and change their image and, fall into a certain, I don't want to say clique to a certain degree, or fall into a category where you kind of look like what others look like that you like to be around. And again, the cost of that could be a lot of money. Again, it could be extensions for your hair. It could be certain types of clothes that are very expensive that you just can't keep up with. And again, you can do what you want. But I do think there's a happy medium there if you take things slow. Because what we want to kind of do is, through the transition, is kind of figure out what do we truly like and not like. Sometimes if we go full-blown extreme with everything, we don't even know because the whole thing was such a big impact. So for instance, if you do like certain, I should say this because I used to talk about this in my book, The Model Bible, a little bit, and Wingman, especially with men, is if there's a certain celebrity or even a friend, a colleague, or someone you know that maybe looks like you and you like their style, right? Start there. Now, I'm not telling you to emulate anybody, but if you look like a celebrity kind of to a certain degree, and you have the same kind of hair, you're the same kind of height, the same kind of build, and you really like the way they look, that look may work on you. There's a reason why you like that look. Again, it doesn't have to be identical. It could be something very small. It could be like he wears a leather coat all the time, or she, for instance, wears this type of hairstyle if it's for a woman. So start kind of there. But say you don't do that. Again, we want to start small. I talk about a lot of times starting with your shoes. We want to make sure that you really love your shoes because it's a really big statement. But I want you to have confidence when walking. It's a big thing with me. If you don't have confidence when you're walking, and I actually learned that in modeling industry with women. When I was young, I used to take modeling classes, and I remember going to those classes, and guys had like regular shoes. So when we did runway, it was just, walking and having confidence to show off these garments. But when it came to women, especially younger girls, they had to learn how to walk in heels. And you can immediately tell how they walk in that heel, how confident they were. And I even taught my daughter this when she was very young, when she wanted to do modeling at like 6, 7 years old. I taught her how to master every size heel, up to 5 inches, even though she was only about 10 inches high. I'm kidding. But I not only wanted her to learn how to walk in these shoes, I wanted her to look confident in those shoes. So that's why a lot of times I start with the shoe. But then we kind of can move up from there. We could start thinking about what type of pants do we wear, really? What is the real length? Do we want them baggy? Do we want them more fitted? Do we want, what style of material are we going to use? We could do the same thing with a shirt. And again, starting small. You may want to try your shirt, hanging out one time, maybe tucking it in, maybe a certain length on it, certain colors. And again, when you go to change your style, that doesn't mean you have to change up every piece that day. I think people get caught up in that. No, again, let's have what you have. Even though you may not like it, let's start with the shoes and maybe just the pants. Let's keep your shirt or everything else kind of the same. Then next time, all right, let me try a different pair of shoes, but let me try it with my regular jeans. And then let me try some shirt that I've never tried before or some type of color. Let me see how I feel there. Same with the hairstyle. I tell a lot of, and I just actually told my stepson this too, a lot of women go crazy with hair when trying to, change up their image. I told him because he wanted to go blonde. I said, dude, go to a wig store. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, go to a wig store. I recommend this to a lot of women that want to try different hairstyles. Instead of committing, either go try the wig on, see what it looks like on you, similar hairstyle, or buy a wig. And I'm not kidding. In his case, I'm not telling him to buy it. But I said, if you're going to go with a short blonde cut, because he's never had blonde hair, go put a wig on and see what it looks like with your complexion. Just test it. Because he was on the fence. Because if he goes and commits and gets the cut, dyes it blonde, he doesn't like it in a month or two, or maybe even a day or two. A lot of people, let's face it, you get haircuts and you're pissed off. You think it's going to look a certain way, and boom, it doesn't. So these are the type of things that I like to, really help people with when it comes to, helping them with their image. Because you got to make sure, you're creating, again, the style that works best for you. Not what looks best or makes other people feel better. It's about you, all right? Don't let anybody convince you. Again, it could be family members, friends, colleagues. And don't get me wrong, advice is wonderful. But a lot of people are wrong a lot of times. And a lot of people are taking the advice from people that really don't know what the hell they're talking about. Okay? I'm just telling you right now. And again, just because they look great doesn't mean that whatever you're going to do is going to make you look great. If you look like them or even take advice from them, you're going to have to kind of figure out, I call it the blueprint to figuring out what's best for you specifically. All right? Because it could be just some small changes. You'd be shocked. I tell people too a lot of times, especially men and some women, is just getting a better tan. Just getting some color on your face. Finding the right skin tone that works well. You'd be amazed because a lot of people don't, like sometimes when taking pictures, or they don't like the way they look in certain colors, even though they want to pull off that color. Again, it could be your skin tone. Something that simple can be a game changer. So something just to think about. I've even done YouTube videos on how to become more tan, but not extreme. Okay, I think that's what a lot of people make a mistake is if you are going to go try to get a better tan, they either get super tan, they can't keep up with it, or they put on too many creams, or they put a cream on that's too orange. But you got to find the right one again, and the right one you can be consistent with. We don't want you looking tan one week and then looking like a ghost the other. These are just things that I teach. And I've been working a lot on the anti-aging stuff. And again, this comes up with a lot of clothing, is really creating a style that works for you. But if you do want to look younger, your clothes could definitely have a major impact on that. People really underestimate that. But something to think about. Got any questions or comments? Please feel free to hit me up. rich@richcelenza.com. My website is richcelenza.com. Take care. And again, don't let other people control what you look like, is what I should be saying.